This is the tale of what did Paleolithic people smell like and how did they clean themselves. A time when people lived close to animals, dirt, and fire with no soap, no baths, no soft cloth to wipe their skin. Their smell came from the earth, from hunting, from sweating under the sun every day. They didn't hide it. They didn't wash it away. It was just part of who they were. Dear listeners, welcome to my channel Sleep and History. In this video, we'll go back to 0.5 million years ago to look how Paleolithic people really smelled and how they cleaned themselves without anything we use today. If you enjoy learning about the real life of early humans, hit subscribe and walk back with us into the wild past. A man steps through wet grass before sunrise, the ground cold beneath his feet, the scent of damp earth rising with every step he takes. His legs are smeared with dried mud, his shoulders carry the sharp smell of old blood, the thick skin of a hunted animal still tied across his back. The air around him is heavy with smoke from last night's fire mixed with the raw scent of ash and meat fat that burned long on the flames. He is not bathed, he has not wiped his skin, there is no river nearby, no bowl of water waiting. His smell is part of the morning, part of the work, part of the life he lives under the sky. Behind him two women sit cross-legged scraping a deer, hide the smell of stretched skin and sinew. Strong in the air, flies buzz around their hands, the fur patch already stiff from drying. The knife edges dark with grease. One woman wipes her face with her arm, her sweat mixing with the smell of old animal fat. Stuck on her sleeve, her clothes are made of stitched leather and bark rope tied over her chest and around her waist. These clothes have never been washed in water, they carry the smell of every day before today. Smoked blood, sap, old sweat, crushed leaves, dried berries, all pressed deep into the seams and folds of her wrap. A child nearby chews on a stick of bitter root, his breath carries a sharp earthy scent. His fingers dark with soil and crushed seeds. He crawls near the fire where an old bone rests, blackened on one side, soft with grease on the other. The smell from the fire pit rises with the breeze, burned hair, charred meat, and ash stuck to stones and logs. Everywhere there is scent, nothing is fresh, nothing is clean in the way we know it today. The tribe smells like its land, like the meat they eat, like the wood they burn, and the dirt they walk on. Each person has their own scent, but together they share a smell that stays with them wherever they go. A stranger could smell them before seeing them. The mix of body smoke, blood, fat, leather, sweat, dirt, and breath travels ahead of them. A man who returns from a long hunt smells stronger than the others. His arms are streaked with blood that dried in the wind. His neck carries the scent of animal skin. Wrapped around it for hours, the fat from the animal's belly is still soft on his fingers even after wiping them, on his thigh. His legs are stiff with dried mud and his hair smells of dry leaves and river grass where he slept the night before. He does not wash, he does not try to smell better. His body holds the smell of what he killed and what he crossed. Women who cook carry the scent of ash and boiled root, their hands dark from burned wood, their hair full of steam and smoke. Their wraps are stained with fruit juice, with bone marrow, with crushed nuts ground between stones. They rub dirt on their fingers to scrape off food bits, then wipe it clean with bark or soft leaves. Their feet are black from walking the fire pit, their arms touched with hot steam and the sour smell of old meat. The smell is part of the work, it shows what they have done and where they have been. Children smell like berries and smoke and wet. Dirt they roll on the ground, they touch everything they eat with their hands, they never wipe. They sleep close to the fire, wrapped in dried grass or fur, their heads pressed against old hides, and their bodies rubbed with dust to stay warm. When they wake, they smell of warmth, of crushed grass, of skin that has never touched water in days. Mothers rub soft moss under their arms and wipe their mouths with bits of cloth or chewed bark. But the smell never goes, the mix of skin, breath and smoke stays with them. Old people carry the deepest smell, their skin dry, their wraps stiff with age, their breath slow and thick with root and ash. They sit near the fire, always wrapped in layers that hold the scent of many years. Their hands are rubbed with animal grease to soften the skin, their heads covered in cloth that has never seen water. Even in sleep they carry the smells of food and fat and old fire that never fade. When they gather to eat, the smells mix stronger than ever roasted bone-dry herbs. Steamed roots, burned fish all float through the air. They eat with fingers, lick their hands, wipe them on their legs. Or on the ground, food leaves marks that stay. Until the next day, or longer, some wipe with leaves or ashes, others do not. When the meal is over, they lean back, their bodies relax, the smell of sweat rising from their arms and chests. Some lie back on fur or old mats made of bark that still hold the smell of last week's fire. At night the tribe smells stronger than the day. Bodies, a close breath is warm sweat from the long walk, and work sticks to every fold. Fur, smell of ash and dried blood, mats, smell of ground bone and damp leaves, skin, smells of sun, dirt and fire. The air is thick, heavy, warm, with the scent of many bodies resting after a long day. No one changes clothes, no one wipes off their arms or washes their face. They turn to the side and sleep as they are. The smell of the Paleolithic person was not hidden, not cleaned away, not covered with scent. It was life, it was work, it was the body carrying the memory of each day. Sweat meant movement, fire meant food, blood meant success, ash meant warmth, dirt meant survival. They smelled like the world they lived in, like the animals they hunted, like the ground. They walked like the hands they held, each person was known by scent as much as by face. You could smell who had cooked, who had hunted, who had eaten, who had not, who had walked far, who had stayed back. You could smell fear on breath, hunger in sweat, sickness in skin, strength in old blood dried on fingers. Paleolithic smell was strong and constant. There was no shame in it, no pride either. It was normal, it was always there. They did not think of bad smell or good smell, only of the smell that came with life, the scent of being alive outside, under the sky, close to the earth and close to each other. Their smell changed with the season. In rain they smelled of wet leather and soaked dirt, in winter of smoke and dry bark, in summer of sweat and dust and sweet roots. In every season their clothes soaked up the world around them. Their skin took in the wind, the sun, the cold, the heat. Nothing was washed, nothing was rinsed. The smell of the Paleolithic body was the smell of the day itself. A fire of food, of hunting, of sleep, of birth, of breath, of movement. No one was clean, but no one was truly dirty either. They carried the marks of what they did and where they had been, and in those marks, in those smells, was the story of their life. Now that we've smelled their world, let's step into the next part of the story. How did they try to stay clean in a place without soap, water, or time to rest? In part 2, we looked closer at the ways they kept their bodies ready for the next day, without ever using what we now call clean. A boy stands near a quiet stream, his hands dark with animal fat, his feet pressed into the cold, wet stones. He bends and splashes water onto his chest, wiping the blood with the flat part of his arm, then rinsing again. He doesn't soak or swim or sit in the stream. He rinses what is needed and walks away. The stream is not a place for play. It is cold, fast, and full of sharp rocks. So they use it only when they need to. Water is not wasted, and washing is not a daily task. It is done when dirt begins to itch or blood begins to dry to thick. The rain is their first bath, the most honest one. When storms come, people stand under the sky, letting water run over their faces, backs, legs, and arms. The rain wipes smoke from their hair, blood from their skin, dust from their feet, and ash from their shoulders. Children dance in it, women press their hands against their arms and rub gently, men lift their heads and let the water fall. No one brings a cloth, no one brings soap, they just let the sky do the cleaning. Sometimes they rub dry ash onto their skin, then wipe it off with leaves or hands. The ash pulls off grease and smells, it dries the sweat, it removes bits of old fat. Ash is soft and warm and always near the fire, so it becomes the most common way to clean. Sand is used the same way, rough and dried, scrapes off old skin and thick sweat. They rub it on their arms, their chests, their feet, then brush it off with leaves or bark or just with their fingers. Smoke itself is a kind of cleaner. They stand near the fire and let smoke roll over their bodies. It drives away insects, dries the skin, kills small pests. After working with meat or mud or blood, they sit close to the flames, letting heat and smoke rise around them. The smell of smoke covers the stronger smells of sweat and rot. It becomes part of their skin and their clothes. They do not wash it off, they keep it close until the next fire burns again. Clothes are rarely cleaned in water, they are aired out in wind or rubbed with dry grass, or scraped with sharp tools. Fur wraps are shaken to release dust, leather is scraped to remove blood, or bits of food. Sometimes they rub leaves or crushed herbs into the clothes, not for smell, but to soften the fabric or chase away insects. Insects bite deep into clothes, so cleaning is also a way to protect the body, not just to smell better. Hair is never washed with water unless it rains. They rub animal fat into it or mix in dry ash or crushed bark to smooth it down and stop it from drying out in the sun. Hair grows thick and wild, it carries the smell of fire and wind and old nights. Sometimes they tie small bones or beads into it and rub in dry herbs to make it stay soft and tight. A mother might clean her daughter's hair with her hands, pulling out leaves and bugs one by one, while sitting near the fire. Hands are cleaned after butchering or touching strong-smelling things like fish or organs. They rinse with river water. If near, or rub with sand, then wipe on bark or leaves. They never clean for looks, they clean to stop flies from coming, or to keep food smells from sticking too long. They do not wash every time, but they clean when needed, before eating or after cutting or before sleeping. Teeth are cleaned with sticks or crushed bark. They chew bitter roots that scrape the teeth clean. They spit out leaves that pull dirt from gums. There is no brushing, no rinsing, only chewing, rubbing, scraping with what they can find. The smell of the mouth is strong, it carries the scent of raw roots or dried meat or river mud. Still, they know how to keep it from rotting. They keep the mouth busy, they clean it by using it. For babies and children, soft moss is used like a cloth to wipe their bodies after they eat. Or past waste, mothers chew soft bark to make it wet, then use it to clean the skin around the mouth or under the arms. Sometimes leaves are used, sometimes dry grass, sometimes even ash mixed with water. The goal is not full cleaning, it is comfort, it is to stop the baby from itching or crying from sticky dirt. Elders are helped by others, their skin is rubbed with warm fat to stop it from cracking. Their feet cleaned with sand and their hands with bark. They sit near the smoke to stay clean and safe. They are not left dirty, they are taken care of with slow hands and soft tools. A girl might clean her grandfather's arms with leaves soaked in steam. A boy might scrape dried dirt from his grandmother's legs. It is not a task, it is part of the day, part of the time spent near the fire before sleep. Nails are cleaned with sharp stones or just bitten short. They use their teeth to pull out dirt from under the nails or scrape it out with sticks. Sometimes the skin on the feet is scraped off with rocks when it grows too thick or dry. They do not have rules for it. They clean when it starts to hurt or when the skin begins to crack. Cleaning is part of care, not part of beauty. It is done when the body asks for it, not when the mind wants it. Sometimes they clean with heat. Stones are heated in the fire, then wrapped in leaves or grass and pressed to the skin. The heat draws out sweat and grease. The steam opens the skin and clears it from inside. Afterward, they scrape with bark or bones, wiping off what the heat has loosened. This kind of cleaning is not done every day. It is done after long hunts or in winter, when water is too cold to touch. The Paleolithic way of cleaning was simple and quiet. They did not need soap, they did not need perfume, they used what the land gave: rain, sand, smoke, bark, ash, river leaves, fire, fat, moss, steam, and time. Each body carried the marks of cleaning done not for show but for need. They cleaned to sleep better, to eat better, to move without pain, to keep insects away, to feel ready for the next day. There was no shame in dirt, but there was care in staying ready. The skin was not shiny, but it was rubbed. The hair was not clean, but it was kept soft. The hands were not pure, but they were washed when it mattered. They cleaned with what they had when they could, where they stood. No special place, no set time. Just the flow of life, the body and the land working together, and that was enough.